KT7 up here. This is my Gilgamesh FFV 140 showcase. Gilgamesh is a 100 cost fire unit in the Spear group. His sub-jobs are Strider and High Dragoon. The more I use this unit, the more I like him. He is a super versatile bruiser unit with a self-follow-up attack. He is very strong against magic-heavy teams. Because of Exdeath and Hero King Mont, many JP players overlooked him at first. But recently he is being used a lot more, and earned a roster spot across all PvP content. Now let's see what his kit has to offer. We will start off with his stats. Very good HP and attack. Agility, luck and dex are all top tier among next-gen units. Gilgamesh is a unit that you can build to have very good accuracy and crit rate. He also has an 8 jump too, makes up for his shorter attack range. Next is new spear. The general ability is Pierce Attack 15. For Gilgamesh only, he also gets AoE resistance penetration 20, AP consumption down 15, and critical damage 15. I suggest to build 1 aim and 1 crit type. Next is TMR, it is a piece of heavy armor. The stats are HP 521, defense 13, and crit evade 18. The ability is a self-buff. Grants the user physical man-eater 25, and reduce physical damage taken 25%, both for 4 turns. The effects are pretty good, but not many units can equip heavy armor. Next is the Trials of Reckoning item, Gilgamesh's Waistband. The general abilities are Unit Resistance 10, Paralysis and Stun Resistance 25. The unique abilities for Gilgamesh are Physical Damage Reduction 20% for 2 hits, and Accuracy 20. This is a good piece of equipment for him, has the most unit resistance out of all items he can equip. The total of 34 accuracy is very good as well. This is a good choice when you need him to be accurate. Moving on to his resistances. 20 to slash, 10 to pierce, missile and magic. Has negative 15 to strike, which could be scary in the future, but this is fine for now. His ailment resistances are 50 to frostbite and berserk plus 10 to confusion. These are very good in the mono ice matchup. Granny Wazette is a frostbite machine, but Gilgamesh should have no problem dealing with her. He does have an auto heal back in his kit, be sure to give him curse resistance. I also recommend to give him immobilize and doom resistance in the upcoming Exdeath matchup. Gilgamesh is a dual content commander. His commander effect supports Greatsword, Spear and Staff Black Mage. The effects are initial AP 10, Accuracy 15, Acquired AP up 20%, Spirit 10, Type Chain Resistance 20, and Critical Evade 10. All these effects are great for Hero King Mont, especially the 10 Spirit and Type Chain Resistance. The extra Spirit is impactful in the Exdeath matchup. Type Chain Resistance can help him mitigate even more damage. His commander ability gives units Pierce Attack 25, Crit Evade 30, and Max HP up 25% for the first 5 turns of battle. So with Gilgamesh as the commander, the team will start the match with 40 extra crit evade. That's really good. Opposite to Jaden, Gilgamesh is more of a defensive commander. One thing I want to point out, his commander effect and ability don't apply to fire units. Next is Master ability. It gives Gilgamesh 15 AoE resistance and 20 crit evade. At level 140, he gets reaction block rate 40, fire attack 10, crit damage 10, and upgrade to his group buff to include magic damage reduction effect when his health drops below 50%. Moving on to his main job support abilities. Number 1 gives him attack 24%, defense penetration 40, AoE resistance penetration 40, and debuff weakening 20. Number 2 gives him slash attack 12, pierce attack 12, and AoE resistance 12. His main job reaction is a preemptive counter against slash and pierce type attacks. It has a 70% chance to prop. Support number 1 is the must-have, support 2 is situational. He can have upwards of 60 AoE resistance with support number 2 equipped, but there are just too much AoE penetration out there. Next is LB. It is a unit attack with range of 5, and range height 3. Before damage dispel haste, protect and shell. Plus breaks physical damage barrier and lower target's unit resistance by 30 for 3 turns, then deals extra large damage. Haste dispel and barrier break are always good. The unit resistance in peril can boost the damage of his follow-up attack, and the range height 3 is very nice. Moving on to his group buff. Gives the group 4 turns debuff weakening 50, and 2 on-hit effects. seal target's courage removal and lower their debuff weakening 30 for 3 turns. For himself, restore 20 AP, a one-time HP auto heal back medium at 50% health. Plus grants him 20% magic damage reduction effect for 3 turns when his HP drops below 50%. This magic reduction effect mid-fight is really strong, keeping him alive longer in the front line. Now his self-buff. Grants him courage, and the following effects for 4 turns. Self follow-up attack, missile resistance 25, AoE resistance 25, and lower target's pierce resistance 15 for 4 turns before damage. The follow-up attack includes a 60% unit resistance shred before damage, and it does not affect chains. His follow-up attack can deal a lot of damage with the unit resistance shred, and it stacks with the unit resistance and peril from his LB. Moving to his main job attacks. The first on the list is a diamond-shaped AoE with range up to 5, range height and area height of 1. Prior to damage, remove courage from targets, then deals 2 hit large damage. Post-damage, lower target's magic damage output by 20% for 4 turns, and lower their AoE resistance penetration by 25 also for 4 turns. With this attack and the magic damage reduction effect from his group buff, he can take a lot of hits from magic DPS. The one drawback of this ability is the range. It is a 5-panel diamond shape attack, he often cannot use it because one of his teammates is in front of him. Attack number 2 is a slash-type AoE attack. It is a guaranteed crit hit with a plus 30% hit rate attached to it. Before damage, lower target slash resistance 60%, then deals large critical damage, and lower their healing power 40 for 3 turns, plus 50% chance to inflict poison. Healing power down is a really strong effect. The on-hit debuff weakening imperil from his group buff is very impactful when combined with this attack. Attack number 3 is a unit attack with range of 3, range height 1, and has the piercing effect. Deals small damage and restore 30% of HP if he KOs the enemy, up to 1 target. Next is the job level 25 attack, the last ability on the list. It is a jumping attack with a casting speed of 280. Deals damage in a cross shape, with range up to 5, range height and area height of 1. Before damage, dispel target's physical damage reduction effect, then deals large damage. This Protect 2.0 dispel is rare, and this attack is quite powerful. Don't turn this ability off because it requires casting. The effects and damage are worthy of the wait. That's all for his main job, moving on to his subs. First, his main sub abilities. Ability 1 is a slash-type AoE attack with range 3, range height and area height of 1. Deals medium damage and 25% chance to inflict paralysis. Ability 2 is a jumping unit attack with cast speed of 360. Has range of 2 and height 5. Before damage, lower target's defense by 60%, then deals medium damage. Both abilities are not bad, but his main sub is not my top choice. Let's look at Strider. The support ability is Natural Instincts, giving Gilgamesh 25 accuracy and 40 defense penetration. This support is very good to have. Not only it pushes his defense pen to 80, it also makes him more accurate. The reaction is Danger Sense. The notable ability from Strider is Spirit Ward. It is a cross-shaped buff that grants 25 spirit to the group. Spirit is the most effective way to mitigate Exdeath as damage. However, it could be a bit difficult to manage a second group buff on some maps. Be sure to play around with his movement if you want him to use this buff. His other sub-job is High Dragoon. High Dragoon lore has 24% attack and 40 defense pen. High Dragoon Focus gives Gilgamesh 12% agility and 12 strike resistance. Generally speaking, High Dragoon Focus is his best second support ability. But since evasion is everywhere, I much prefer Natural Instincts for the 25 accuracy and give up the 12% agility. The preemptive Piercer reaction is not good, not worth mentioning. The notable ability from High Dragoon is Swift Dark Banner. Gilgamesh often cannot attack on his third turn because of his limited range. It is a good idea to allow him to cast this movement plus 1 buff, so he is more mobile for the next 3 turns. There are a few TMR buffs that can replace this ability. I will go over those in the equipment section. That's his whole kit. Moving on to his VC. His VC will arrive on the same day as the unit. It supports 5 weapon groups: axe, spear, katana, glove, and book. The stats are HP 344, attack 158, and 3 agility. Party abilities are AoE resistance 24, pierce attack 28, and type chain resistance 30. The bestowed effects are max HP 5% and accuracy 15. Hollow party abilities are for guild battle, gives the team 15 critical damage. DC mastery are accuracy 2 and initial AP 2. I really like this card, it powers up Gilgamesh's attack and gives him more accuracy. The type chain resistance is also really good against the evade girls and great sword teams. Supporting 5 weapon groups is a first in the game, and this alone makes it better than many hollow VCs. However, I don't think it is a must-have. AoE resistance is not as valuable as before. We are seeing AoE penetration as bestowed effects nowadays. If you go all in on Gilgamesh's AoE resistance, it can be at around 90 with his active buff. It still has value, just not as much when the attacking unit has 60 AoE penetration. I think this card is very good for Gilgamesh, but the effects are becoming more niche by the day. Moving on to his equipments, Espers, and Truststones. If you want more consistent damage, go with his new spear. If you are looking for more accuracy, the Dragon Whisker is a better choice. In the second slot, the Maximilian Armor is the overall best choice. I also use his waistband quite often when I need more accuracy and unit resistance. In the TMR slot, the Dragoon Helmet, Saiga Gauntlet, and Exdeath as TMR can all give him one additional movement. Exdeath TMR is one of the best in the game, not only it has +1 move, it also gives the user Protect and Shell 2.0 for 2 hits. If you need accuracy, new Jaden's TMR or Bells are both great. Next is Espers. Regular Odin and Dark Tetra are my top picks, both are great for accuracy. For max damage, go with Dark Bahamut. For magic damage mitigation, go with Ultros or Voldisk. They are both at 17 agility. Ultros has 20 defense pin, it has higher damage potential. Whereas Voldisk can lower magic damage that he takes at all times. Now his Truststones. I prefer Luck set on the left, Agility or Aim set on the right. Abilities listed here are for the equipments below. It will be very important to give him Poison, Doom, and Immobilize resistance. Exdeath deals extra damage to units that are poisoned or doomed. On the right side, be sure to give him skill activation time down for his jumping attacks. Moving on to sample teams. The first team I am showing is the Accurate Spear team with Ramada and Lucielle. Gilgamesh is on his main support number 1, and Natural Instincts. He is on Aim set Truststone, which makes him a bit slower, and that's where Lucielle's haste comes in. The goal is to have good accuracy but not get double turned. If you are using resnick for the accuracy buff instead of Lucielle's haste, Gilgamesh can get away with agility TS, but you will be at risk of being lapped by the evade girls. In this setup, Gilgamesh's hit rate is at 477%, with his plus 30% hit rate attack, it will be at 507%. That's pretty good, should be able to land some hits from the front, and have little to no problem landing hits from the side. His defense penetration is at 90 at all times, AoE penetration is at 60. His pierce penetration is only at 10, but it is fine as we saw how powerful Ramada can be at similar amount of pierce pen. Speaking of Ramada, she has the Dragon Whisker to boost her hit rate, it is at 497%. The 3 main VCs on this team cannot be replaced. Fang's card has accuracy, Venera's card has luck and AoE resistance. The FMA card has agility and unit resistance. You could use Garuda as the luck VC, but it is only 35%. The 16 physical wide guard is comparable to the AoE resistance, but the card is magic based. You can put it in the sub slot to further boost the team's hit rate. The second team is a more general spear team that is good against magic. Gilgamesh's accuracy is a bit low and could run into trouble against semi-evade shurecca. Should you need more accuracy, you can use Fang's card over Irvine's card. Or if you want him to be faster, give him High Dragoon Focus. Exdeath is also a very high speed unit, again we will need Lucielle to haste the team to avoid being double turned. Plus her regen buff can cure poison, thus lower the chance of Exdeath dealing extra damage. Moving on to the third team. In this setup, Gilgamesh is covering for the evade girls. The evade girls don't have to compromise in terms of evasion. However, Gilgamesh does not have a main agility VC support, so he has High Dragoon Focus for the 12% agility. You can give him the producer's bowtie for some hate. This team can catch some people off guard. It is not something I would use every day, but it is fun once a while. The last team I have prepared for today is the Mono Fire team with Sephiroth and Lucielle. Gilgamesh is on High Dragoon focus support, pushing his agility to 128. As for equipments, he has the Dragon Whisker and Maximilian armor. Summer Resnick can take over for Lucielle. Crimson Wizard could be a bit difficult to include on this team, the VCs don't line up well. I hope these teams can paint a good picture of how versatile Gilgamesh is. You can mix and match his support abilities and equipments to handle different situations. That's all the teams I have prepared. Let's move on to the Spear Group VCs. Okay, there are many cards for the Spear Group, and there are many crossovers. However, the unit still cannot form a top-tier team yet. Many of the VCs for this group are magic-based. I guess we will have to wait for the new More unit. Now my final thoughts on Gilgamesh. In my FF5 priority list video, I said he is a good matchup against Exdeath teams and have a tough time against Hero King. This statement still stands even with the arrival of Granny Wizette. He has so much to offer on the offensive end, and defensively he can hold his own with his heal back and bulk. However, it is very tough for him to carry a team on his own. He is a great addition to the Spear Group. Just like Rikku and Venera, Gilgamesh and Ramada completes each other. Gilgamesh brings things that Ramada lacks, such as haste dispel and magic damage and peril. Together, they can form a very strong duo against magic teams. But they do have a hard time against Hero King Mont, just like any physical teams. I really want to recommend Gilgamesh, but I just can't. I would suggest to pull for either Exdeath or Hero King, then decide if you truly want Gilgamesh. Now let's go to sample matches. The first match of the day is against Exdeath and Shurecca. You will be seeing this duo a lot in the upcoming month. Gilgamesh's first action, his group buff. Gives the group 4 turns debuff weakening 50. On hit effects of Courage Removal Seal and debuff weakening Imperil 30. For himself, restore 20 AP. HP auto heal back, and 3 turns 20% magic damage reduction effect when health drops below 50%. Second action, self buff. Gives him Courage, follow-up attack for 4 turns, 25 missile and AoE resistance for 4 turns. And lower target's pierce resistance 15 before damage for all his attacks. This is Exdeath's TMR. For 4 turns gives the user movement +1 and agility up 25%. Also protect and shell 2.0 for 2 hits. He is going in for his LB. Before damage dispel haste, protect and shell from target. Also break physical barrier and lower target's unit resistance 30 for 3 turns. Then deals extra large damage. The unit resistance and peril from his LB, and unit resistance shred from his follow-up attack stack. His HP is now below 50%, the auto heal back and magic damage reduction effect are kicking in. This is his diamond AoE attack. Remove courage from targets, then deals 2 hit large damage. Post damage, lower targets magic damage output 20% and their AoE resistance penetration 25, both for 4 turns. This match really shows how much magic damage Gilgamesh can endure. He is using the same diamond attack here, and continue the pierce chain. Next is the Spear team against the FFVIII girls. In this FFVIII matchup, Gilgamesh has around 50% to land a hit from the front when the evasion buff is active. He will need to rely on his plus 30% hit rate attack or go in from the side. Like I said many times, haste is really important in this matchup, just to avoid being lapped by the opponents. Resnick is great to boost your accuracy, but it doesn't matter how accurate your units are if they don't get to take a turn. He is going in from the side. This is his plus 30% hit rate, guaranteed crit hit / attack. Before damage lower targets / resistance by 60%, then deals large critical damage. Post damage, lower targets healing power 40 for 3 turns, and 50% chance to inflict poison. He is attacking from the front this time. And missed. This is Dragonlance Dive from High Dragoon. Before damage lower targets pierce resistance 30 for 3 turns, then deals medium damage. Now he is using his Job 25, cross-shaped AoE attack. Before damage, dispel target's physical damage reduction effect, then deals large damage. There is not much more to see from the rest of this match. Let's move on. The last match of the day is against Full Greatsword with Hero King, Cloud, and Dark Veritas. For some reason, many players are trying to Keen Blade Hero King and push him far out front. This strategy could work on some maps, but not this one. I am going to capitalize on this mistake. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in my Exdeath showcase. Have a good one.
乗り越えてみせましょう。倒れはしない。